when you're winning. Get a goal, it's just the beginning. You gotta sing when you're winning. Everywhere you go. Everywhere you go. You gotta sing when you're winning. Get a goal, it's just the beginning. Sing, sing when you're winning. Everywhere you go.
Hello and welcome to episode 31 of the Sing When You're Winning, a Fantasy Football League Odyssey podcast featuring distant cousins of podcast royalty and a very special guest who we will reveal very shortly. But waiting in line for the podcast throne this week, it's myself, Jamie, we've got Steve, we've got Jersey Chris, we've got Lee, and Chris is back as well. So we've got two Chris's on the pod this week, which is great. And this week, everyone to introduce themselves, the name of their team, and in honor of Jersey Chris and the return of Bergerac, thought we could do your best or worst remakes that could be TV or film. Who would like to go first on that one?
I thought you were going to ask us our favourite pancake topping.
Yeah, I was thinking.
Well, yes, today's Pancake Day, but when this goes out, it's Friday morning, and Pancake Day is all news. Do you see what I'm saying? I mean, if let's have a vote. If we'd rather have pancake toppings, I can save Bergerac for another week. It's on for 6 weeks. Tell you what, I've already
finished it.
What's Bergerac's favourite topping? What would he have on a pancake?
Whiskey, usually. I think it was.
I'll tell you what. We'll go. I'll tell you what. As voted by popular demand, we'll go pancake toppings. Then go on. And Steve, what's your favourite pancake topping this Friday morning after Pancake Tuesday?
Well, tonight I've had banana and treacle.
Oh, that's a bit of a classic one, isn't it?
Yeah, and with a hint of the first one I had was just cordial orange.
Really?
Yeah, which
like Kiora, something like that.
My daughter's told everybody at school, and everyone apparently a business teacher thinks it's weird. But I mean, but it's really nice.
Cordial. Well, I might have to try that after the.
Have you not had yours yet?
No. I this is why we record the pod so early on a Friday morning, so I can go and have my tea afterwards.
Oh, right, okay.
Is yours like a Yorkshire crepe Suzette then, is it, Steve? Is that what it is?
No, it's just a pancake.
No. Right, who else has got a pancake topping?
Yeah, I'm quite boring. I just go for the old lemon and a bit of sugar on top. Yeah, just
classic.
Classic.
You
classic
can't
pancake.
beat the classic, can you? You can't beat the classic.
The missionary pancake.
I mean, I've never heard it called that, but the missionary pancake, I like that.
I
Chris,
keep forgetting he's here because I can't see his face, and then his voice appears.
I know. I'm trying to sort out my video. Sorry, guys.
The voice
like
of
God
Chris.
Speaking.
Well, so yeah, Chris, what about yourself? Do you like a bit of missionary pancake, or that's a weird question to ask?
Yeah, exactly. Behave yourself. I go savoury. I like mushroom and mature cheddar.
Oh,
ooh, that sounds like something you get at a festival or something.
It is.
Yeah,
18 quid.
Yeah,
charge a fortune for that.
Yeah.
Served out of an old converted horse box or something like that. But yeah, good stuff.
You've been to my house.
Lee, how about yourself?
Yeah, I'm 100% hardcore missionary as well. So lemon and sugar for me. I do like a savoury pancake though. Chris will remember the Dutch Pancake House in Manchester.
Oh yeah.
I used to have a salami and cheese pancake, thinking it was dead trendy and dead different. It wasn't. Closed down in the end because nobody went.
Well, I went there. The only time I ever went to the Dutch Pancake House, I was on a break. I was working in a cinema in Manchester, and I went there for my lunch, and there was a band there who were being dropped by their label in the table behind me, and it was, oh God, I was trying to kind of, lean my head back so I could hear everything and trying to work out who the band was, and oh God, it was so awful. It was really uncomfortable and very enjoyable.
Did you find out who they were? Can you?
No, I never found out. But if there's any bands out there who got dumped by their label in the Dutch Pancake House in Manchester in about 2004, then you know.
Sounds like a-
There's a great
Factory
pun in there as
records.
well somewhere as well, isn't there?
Yeah.
Could you imagine the management meeting though, going, "How should we let the lads down?" Oh, Tom from the band, the drummer, he loves his waffles. Let's take him there. Soften the blow. Soften the blow. That's definitely something that was planned.
Missionaries all round.
Oh, it's great stuff. And I'm not a big fan of pancakes, as I've got older. To be fair, I mean, there's a surprise. But
Here we go.
when I did
Toppings.
like pancakes, I used to like the missionary as well. To be fair, so there we go. Not very adventurous us lot on here. But let's move swiftly on. Our special guest can reveal their favourite topping. I bet he can't wait to tell us. But let's meet our special guest, described by himself probably on X as a music officer at Sunderland Music City. He works weekends at Sunderland Football Club, and on stage is part of Frankie and the Heartstrings, who recorded a song that I always wanted to be played at my funeral. So there you go. A cracking Northeast band. So let's give a very warm Sing When You're Winning podcast welcome to our special guest this week, Frankie Francis. Woo!
Hi, everyone. Wow. What an intro.
How are you doing?
Marmite and cheese is the answer.
Oh,
Oh,
heaven.
So what a combination. Marmite and
Good
cheese.
choice. Good
Yeah,
choice.
did you discover that at a festival?
Yeah, you could see that at a festival, yeah, as well. But that was my choice for sandwiches at school as well. Between 1996 and 2000 was Marmite and cheese every day.
I bet that's where Starbucks got the idea from, Frankie.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually went to I was down doing a conference in Manchester a few weeks ago, and I went to a cool coffee place in the Northern Quarter, and they were doing like these Marmite and cheese knots as well on the counter, and it was amazing. It was only like £1.50 as well. I can't really describe it. It was a cross between like a scone and like a bun, but it was just made of Marmite and cheese rolled into a ball. It was amazing. Yeah.
That does sound good.
Would you grill the Marmite as well?
No, you put it on afterwards, I think. Yeah. Oh, but then you would have to grill the cheese. You're right, like a cheese toast, wouldn't you? Or you could cook it in the middle. Yeah, good point. I don't know. I'm gonna have to get into the kitchen afterwards. I haven't had any pancakes. that is my go-to, though. Yeah.
Well, Marx's were doing hot cross buns, weren't they? Marmite and cheese hot cross buns.
Yeah.
They've stopped them now, haven't they? They were nice.
Yeah.
Love Marmite.
Yeah, it's a good one.
You're listening
Well,
to
thanks
Sing
for having
When
me
You're
on,
Winning, a
guys.
Fantasy Football League Oddity podcast.
Which is also like Marmite.
More like Vegemite, I think. But
Yeah.
Great stuff. Well, Frankie, great to have you on the pod. We'll have a chat about football in particular, but we'll have lots of random questions. The panel will have homework questions set for you as well, so you can look forward to that. But first of all, let's have a look at your FPL stats. Thanks to Statman Steve over there. So I believe it's your 8th season as manager of Frankie's Fraggles.
Yeah.
8th season.
Yeah, it'll be getting on now. Always start with good intentions, kind of peter out towards the middle, and then try and finish as strongly as possible when I remember about the changing match day weeks and all that kind of thing, with the Premier League having kickoffs on a Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and all that kind of thing.
It's very random, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think as well, sometimes when you're so consumed, because you touched upon, I work for Sunderland AFC as well. You're so consumed about championship as well. Like sometimes you look at FPL, you're like, I don't even know some of these players because like all my prep work's in the championship. I know that.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. But it is nice, a nice relief and it's exotic, looking out at the Premier League with these names, these household names. Yeah. Of course, it wasn't you in League One as well, so that was even worse.
Yeah. When you're a step too far away. But I believe it's your second Sing When You're Winning season. You finished 20th last year with 39 points. But this season, it's, as you described, kind of that up and down bit. So you've had a yo-yo season, Steve describes it as, but currently 8th on 42 points and just 3 points off the playoffs or 7 points away from automatic promotion in second. So if you maintain that push end of the season, promotion could be yours.
Yeah, I said to Steve, I think at the start, I just want to avoid relegation. But it's such a typical Sunderland outlook towards the season. If we avoid relegation, it'll be good. I mean, Yeah, but yeah, I've tried to put some effort in this season as well, and I've got a few colleagues during the week who are big fans of FPL. So that kind of spurs you on, doesn't it? If you're working with people in the office and they mention it, and they'll give you a heads up, like if there's a game on and stuff like that as well. So and the group chat as well, get the alerts as well. I'm like, oh crap, I haven't made my changes yet. So yeah, persistence. I'm sure I'll get there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, if you're that close to promotion, there's plenty of games left for you to do that.
It's a funny division, though. He could also get relegated because I think Frankie's been in the bottom four and the top playoff bits as well. So.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, we'll see.
No, it's what makes it exciting, though, doesn't it? With all those different games and stuff. Shall we do some predictions of of the football coming up in match week 28, and then Steve, you can go through some results from game week 27. But should we do the predictions first? We've got 3 games that we always pick from the upcoming game week. I'm going to kick off with Saturday lunchtime kickoff live on TNT. Nottingham Forest against Man City.
I'm going to go Forest. I think. I just think they've played poorly in the last few games, but City have been really disappointing. Even the last few weeks when we've said, "Oh, I think City will come good," it's that like Haaland thing, isn't it? When do you get rid of him? Or Cole Palmer's probably one at the minute where he's not having such a good run. So I'm going to go Forest. Just if anything else, just to annoy the father-in-law because he's a Derby fan. So
yeah, good one. Frankie, how about you, Forest City?
I don't know whether the fact that Forest went to pens, didn't they, last night?
Yeah,
will have an effect on them. And then I did see quite a funny thing on social media yesterday, or was it Sunday as well, that Jack Grealish was in one of the local clubs in Washington.
I saw that. What was he doing there? Did it say why he was there?
On the drink, I think. So I don't know if he's going to feature. I mean, he barely features anyway. But it can't. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just can't believe how well Forest have done this season. It's absolutely amazing, isn't it? But it's so refreshing to see. It's really refreshing. Obviously, everyone you'd be a fool to bet against Manchester City, but I don't know. Maybe a draw. Maybe a draw then. Maybe it's going to be a 1-1 or something like that.
1-1. Good stuff.
I think that's where I am as well.
Yeah.
I think that's where I am. I still think it's mad we're saying that Forest have got a chance against City, but they generally do. But I do think City will start turning up now. But I'm going to go for that 2-2 draw.
2-2 draw. Chris, how about you?
6-6. Yeah.
You want a draw, don't you? You just would love a draw, I guess, in that game.
Well, I mean, as a Liverpool fan, I'm not really worried about City.
You should be worried about anybody, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, worried about Arsenal and what we might do, because I'm, as well as being a Liverpool fan, I'm also a proud Scotsman. And if any team that I support does a Scotland, then it could be Liverpool, because Gerrard against Chelsea. Do you know what I mean? There's stuff. Yeah. There's
it would be a serious slip, wouldn't it, this season? Though, to be fair,
totally. And also I think there's enough players in the Liverpool squad who've done it before.
Yeah.
It's not like it's new to everyone there. So
yeah,
but yeah, I'm certainly not going to count any chickens.
Fair enough. Steve?
Yeah, probably a draw, or maybe Man City nick it. I think Man City are probably in that mode now where they get results towards the end of the season to get that top 4. Forest probably a bit like West Ham the other year when they were top 4, and then last 10 games they just dropped off. Probably the pressure to them where the fans are starting to believe they can get Champions League, and everything's a bit harder for them last 10 games. So I think they'll slip away to.
Yeah, there's a bit of pressure, isn't there? Yeah. I mean, it depends what ball they use as well, because obviously if they use the FA Cup ball, then Pep won't be happy. So that
apparently that's an actual thing, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Someone wasn't Arteta whinging about the Carabao Cup ball. Pep doesn't like the FA Cup ball. It's just
balls.
I was under the impression that every player on the pitch was using the same ball.
So so naive that, Chris.
Sorry.
I heard Gabby Agbonlahor was on radio the other day, and he said that you can definitely tell if you said you went down to the park and played with a Champions League ball or a Championship ball, you would definitely tell the differences, and that's why I was rubbish in Championship.
Amazing. I tell you. So the football's the leveler or something like that. But we're not going to cover Liverpool Southampton, but they're going to murder Southampton, obviously. But Man U Arsenal on Super Sunday, 4:30.
4-0 Arsenal.
I mean, it'd be nice to see, but
they are awful out there. I don't care if Arsenal don't have any strikers. Man United are absolutely awful.
They are
worst
dreadful.
Man United ever.
They are.
It's so strange, isn't it, seeing how bad they are, isn't it? Because, like, they just, where do they even start to fix it? Where do they even start to fix the club right now? You can't even begin to even imagine it. Even if anyone on this chat is a business mastermind, where do you even start?
I know. It's weird as well. Like I've said before, I find it quite sad because I grew up in Stretford, but the whole club is in a right shit state. And that's the problem. It's not just what's on the pitch.
That's everything.
It's everything. It's the whole culture's changed from, like 20 years ago when it was like a proper family club, almost felt like a local club to a lot of people, even like when they were coming up from down south. But now just that whole identity's gone, and they're gonna feel that financially because you're not going to get the same amount of fans going to Old Trafford and the things like that. So yeah, I wouldn't even know where they're going to start. But old Jim Ratcliffe or whatever his name is not doing a very good job. He's not very popular with people at the moment. So yeah.
I think Man United would be lucky if they get a shot on target. I think they're going to get absolutely railed. It's going to be 5 or 6-0, and it's not even a joke. The FA Cup game. They were awful, absolutely awful. What we've seen them for this season, they're going to get spanked by Arsenal.
Yeah. Fulham weren't great either the other day, but I don't think they had to be particularly. So yeah, at the risk of being accused of bias on this podcast, we'll say that Man U might have a chance, but I think we're all saying Arsenal whitewash there.
I think it's important that we savor this moment and really enjoy it.
Yeah. There was the conversation on the WhatsApp group the other day saying that it didn't feel right to be enjoying the Man U demise. I think it definitely is now. Let's savor it because, like you say, next season they could have loads of signings and they could be back up there next season quite easily. They've got the money to do it.
And if Leeds go up, I'll snap your hand off for 15th next season. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
They'll have to bring back the dinner ladies, though.
Yeah, that's been shocking, hasn't it? To be fair,
well, they've lost Rashford now. That's it. The dinners are naffed out. The Rashford's gone.
Yeah.
So the third game of the weekend, then we'll go Monday night game, West Ham Newcastle. What do we think? West Ham are on the up a little bit at the moment, and Newcastle will be looking ahead to the Carabao Cup final, won't they? So,
well, who's injured? Who's injured for Newcastle? Because I keep seeing the Isak's out.
They keep saying Isak's out, but he played again at the weekend. It's whether they decide to risk him or keep him for the cup final, possibly. And Gordon, as we record this, is still going to be banned. They're saying that they might appeal, but even if they appeal, I don't see how they'll get away with that because he blatantly went like that.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to appeal there. He punched him.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
So I think Newcastle will probably have their eye on the prize of the following weekend as well. Won't want to mess things up too much. And I think West Ham will probably do that on Monday night.
Yeah.
Anyone disagree?
No. Probably 1-0 or something.
Yeah.
Bowen.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be sitting down to watch that game on Sky, though. It doesn't particularly excite me, West Ham, Newcastle on a Monday night, but never mind. So, Steve, do you want to tell us what's been happening in the leagues?
Yes,
This
we
last
because last week, of course, we were halfway through last week's games, weren't we? So we were speculating a little bit on how that was all going to go. So in the Premier League, the highest score was from Ben Shires. He got 79 to beat Nikolai's 50. Others in the 70s were 76 for me.
Hey.
And my first win, which was my first win since January the 1st. So that was real weight off the shoulders, and the sun's been shining all week. A 74 for Steve Taylor, and Chris, you got 73 as well. So
well done, Chris.
Well done, you. Mark Summerton drew with you, Chris.
Yeah.
Which you're obviously excited about.
Actually, I thought I was going to get absolutely pummeled. So I'm quite pleased that I at least got 1 point. But yeah, I think my dreams of winning the league are gone.
Yeah. Paul Chambers-Tonner, he beat Neil Martin, whose title hopes have really gone. He's dropped right down to the mid-table now. At the bottom, John Gregory beat Michelle Gale in the basement battle. So league table-wise now, Mark Summerton, who's been top for 26 weeks because he was top after week 1, is now not top.
Wow.
Paul Chambers-Tonner is top with 54. Mark Summerton, 52. Alistair Bruce Ball is the form side there now. He's got 48. Tom Roberts has got 48. And Ed Chesters has got 48. At the bottom 5 is me and Faris just outside the drop with 32 and 30. Bottom 3 is Michelle Gale with 28. Dan Stewart, 26. And John Gregory with 21 now. Championship, nobody got in the 70s here. It was all quite close. The high scores there were all in the bottom half of the table. Joe Derrick got 67. He beat you, Lee.
Thanks.
Rich Lay got 66 and Dave Atkins got a 64. Jim finally lost at the top. He lost to Mark Morris. Henry beat Andrew Clancy in the top half clash there, as did Cole against Tom Gregory. And Jamie, you beat Nick.
Was that? I understand you were quite happy about that result because you could gloat in your household.
I would never do that. And down at the bottom, I mean, she's been taking the piss out of me for months.
So you enjoyed 1 week.
And down at the bottom, Swanee beats Alistair Griffin. So league table-wise, Jim has his lead cut to 10 points now. So Jim top, Henry second with 50 points. Stu Dunn's got 49, Tim Ward 48, Andrew Clancy 48, and Cole Jenkins 48 in the playoffs. And the bottom 6, it's quite tight down there. Rich Lay's got 31, Alistair Griffin's got 30, Ross Millard has 30, and the bottom 3 are Graham Swan with 30, Joe Derrick 29, and Jonas slightly adrift with 25 points. League 1, where you are, Frankie. Not too high scores there. Gareth Young's got a 64 and he beat Nigel Clark, who's a bit unlucky because he got 62. Lee Nicholson got a 64 to beat Tim Bresnan. Frankie, who got 56, but that was enough to beat last week's guest Ben Hope. Jamie Hurst won again at the top, and Rich Pipes, who's chasing him, ended Chesney's winning streak 47-46. League table-wise there, Jamie Hurst has now got 63 points. In second, Rich Pipes has 49 points. Then the playoffs are Alex Renton, 49, Stu Kelly, 46, Ben Hope slips to 46. Then Lee Nicholson's got 45. The bottom 5, then Craig Wilson just outside the drop zone has 36. And the bottom 4 are Tim Bresnan, 32, Nathan Clark, 28, Ben Taylor, 27, and Chesney Hawks bottom with 24. The Conference League, Alfie managed to get in the 70s there, 71 to beat Becky Bass. There was a 69 for Ben Halliwell, Maddox Jones, and the 68 for Sophie Ridge, who did go on to get Manager of the Month.
Congratulations.
Joe Singleton won again. He beat Neil Robertson, which is a big game up there, which might be a playoff game at the end. Vicky Sparks also did that against Natalie Pike. Pete Martini and Grace Maloney both won by 1 point. And at the bottom, rock bottom, Chris won his 6th game of the season. So he's up. League table wise, Pete Martini's still top. He's been there for quite a while, 58 points. Sophie Ridge now 56 points in second. Ben Halliwell 55. Natalie Pike 53. Joe Singleton 52. Grace Maloney 52. Vicky Sparks 52. And trying to catch them outside the playoffs is Neil Roberts, who's got 48. The bottom 3 are Indy Hawks with 24. Paul Tonkinson 21. And as I've just said, rock bottom Chris Murray has now got 18 points.
Ooh, but he's got another couple of points. Right, it's now time to have a bit more of a conversation with our manager of the week, Frankie. So, as we ask everybody on the pod, we ask about your football team, and it's pretty obvious. I'm assuming, given that you're from Sunderland and you work for Sunderland Football Club, that you're a Sunderland fan. So why is it Sunderland? Is it obvious because you're from there, or is there another story behind your love of Sunderland Football Club?
No, it's geographical, I'm afraid, and there's nothing I can do about it.
That's good. It's good. Half my family is Sunderland fans, so kind of. I didn't go with the geographical thing, although I was kind of close to Middlesbrough and Sunderland, so went for the best club out of the two. But anyway, we'll move swiftly on that. Sorry, had to get that one. But feel free to laugh at Middlesbrough right now because we're having a lousy season. But yeah, what are your highs and lows of supporting Sunderland? You've obviously had an interesting time over the last 20 years or so, in particular, 20, 30 years.
Yeah, it's been pretty non-stop drama for the last 10 of those, I guess, as well, and even our time in the Premier League wasn't without drama as well. We're just such an odd club. I don't know if every football fan feels like this, but it feels like if something's gonna happen, or a team hasn't won for so long, or this player hasn't scored for such a long time.
Yeah, that's Leeds all over.
Yeah,
I'm Tottenham.
It's going to happen to your club, isn't it? That's the thing, yeah.
But it not only does it happen to Sunderland, they then made a bloody world record-breaking documentary about it as well. So
that's true. Yeah,
it's not going anywhere, So I mean, highs and lows. I guess we're on a bit of a high now, to be honest. Those last few years in the Premier League, except like the Great Escape under Big Sam, the rest of the time it was absolutely torture, to be honest, just trying to survive every single year. And then obviously we just had like a mega drop, and it looks like Luton might do the double drop for the first time since we did this season as well. So I feel their pain. But yeah, I mean, it's just so bizarre how fast we fell through the leagues. And when we're getting like 40,000 in League One. I don't know, Leeds dropped down and they were getting big gates as well at some point as well. But League One, it was almost like a different sport. Like, it was unbelievable. Like, the standard of referees, the fact that every team who came to the stadium it was like their biggest day out ever as a professional footballer as well. So it made it solid to beat them. Yeah. So like League One was probably the lowest I've ever felt as a football fan. When we're getting beat by teams like Cheltenham Town and things like that on a Wednesday night, and it was really bizarre. Like that game in particular, I think Jermaine Defoe re-signed for us and played, and we found out within the first 5 minutes why he was playing League One football for Sunderland, because he just wasn't a footballer anymore. And like that. The highs, I guess, beating Newcastle 6 times in a row was amazing. Yeah. And we just had a total hoodoo over them.
Yeah, I remember that.
You know what? The win at Wembley really felt like a moment against Wickham when we got promoted 2 seasons ago. It really felt like a moment because we had the new ownership. We had this new kind of football model, which everyone talks about all the time, where we either bring youth through or buy really young players to fit in with this model we've got under our sporting director, Christian Speakman. So that win at Wembley was like, right, we're on the right tracks now. And it was just such a release of everything, because it was so emotional those times, dropping through the leagues and then just failing to get out League One time and time again. So that moment when we was 2-0 up going into the last 10 minutes, and we're still, some of the fans still looking around thinking, we got to see this through. We got to see this through.
Yeah.
65,000 Sunderland fans there because we couldn't sell the tickets, so we bought some tickets off them and stuff like that. It was just incredible, and we had all those runs to Wembley in our time in League One as well. And
you did.
every time we'd all justify it to our families, like, it's once in a lifetime trip to Wembley every season for some reason or other. And always sell it out as well and take over Trafalgar Square the night before and things like that. So, yeah. And bizarrely, it looks like we could have another once-in-a-lifetime trip to Wembley on the card.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the high is still to come. I do remember getting promoted from the Championship to the Premier League the last time under Roy Keane. But yeah, I mean, that was great, but I think now the club's got this new mindset. There's a new approach from a football point of view and from a fan point of view as well. It just feels like this season, or maybe next season, if we were to go up, that would be a right time to try and crack the Premier League. But as you all know, it's such a big gap, isn't it? Looking at the teams who were absolutely spanking everyone in our division last season, and they're all struggling so badly. Ipswich took our best player by miles. He got him getting the side. It's mad. It's totally mad. No.
But yeah, Sunderland they're on a good run, aren't they, at the moment?
Yeah, we are.
I think it's fair to say. Beat us both times home and away this season for the first time in a long time. As much as it pains me to say that, but yeah, deserved, I think, as well, over both games. So we're gonna have a bit of I've got some questions for you, and then this is kind of a reminder for the panel to have your homework questions ready for Frankie. So the first question is, have you ever had a run-in with Sophie Ellis-Bextor?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, that's
right.
Just listen to last week's podcast. There's some brilliant stories about Sophie Ellis-Bextor.
Have you upset anybody else?
Yeah, have you upset anybody else? Yeah, have you ever upset anybody famous that you're happy to tell us about on this podcast?
We fell out with loads of people because basically when we played like gigs, especially like festivals and stuff like that, we used to just like we were all like working class lads from Sunderland. So when we found ourselves in these ridiculous situations of like free bars in like hotel receptions in like London, or even festivals when like we get the full rider, my God, did we make the most of it? Kind of.
As you should.
We weren't like intentionally obnoxious, but to everyone else, we probably were. But I can't remember really falling out with anyone in particular. I remember throwing vegetables at another indie band from a distance, like little cowards.
Who were they?
Remember that band? They were called Spectre. I think they might still do.
Yeah, still good.
I remember being at it might have been Leeds Fest, something like that. We were in our dressing room, which was basically prefab, but and we were like throwing like oranges and pears and like stuff over the top into their like area. And I remember that there must have been like, well, who the bloody hell's throwing these oranges? And I remember once we get Crash Falls. Falls had the same agency, like a PR agency or something. We did a gig in London and we got wind that the PR company was having a party back at their headquarters. And we turned up like bloody Motley Crue, but dressed in bloody indie twee gear, basically. And we remember we took it upon ourselves to start a game of darts in the office, and one of us threw a dart and it hit one of Falls in the back, but it was It was just a pissed accident, but they didn't think that way.
Oh, brilliant stuff. So yeah, you're not on Fall's Christmas card list. Then, right?
I don't think so. I mean, I think we saw them like subsequently and just explained it that we were just really excited to be in London, and they were like, "Oh, right."
Typical northeastern reaction, isn't it? You can get to the big city.
You get down to London, your darts game totally goes.
Yeah,
out the window.
That night as well, we for some reason we went around the office and it was still time when people had like wireless phones on the desks, and we hid all the phones in the cisterns and the toilet for some. I don't know why we did that. And then remember, like, we got a phone call off our management the next morning being like, "Did you just go to that party at that PR company?" We're like, "Oh yeah." And they're like, "They're asking where the phones are. Did you nick the phones?" But we didn't nick them. We just like
strategically placed them somewhere.
Yeah,
we just immersed them in water.
Yeah,
why would we nick them?
Yeah,
they were wet.
Brilliant.
So yeah,
I noticed Sophie Ellis Bexer's coming to York. I noticed it's announced today as well.
Oh,
so maybe Ben could have a reunion with her.
Yes, I think Ben needs to get a support act. I think he needs to write to say, "Remember me?"
Throw a custard pie in her face or something.
Well, as long as you keep the jack of potato and beans a million miles away, I think you'll be all right. You'll be all right. So, Frankie, one more question for me. What can you tell us about? Obviously, working at Sunderland FC, do you get to pick the match day music? Because I guess like when you're doing match day music, like you've got to play to the crowd, haven't you? But the music scene is amazing in Sunderland, and I think people talk about kind of great artists from Newcastle, but there's some phenomenal artists from Sunderland in recent years. Like you've got yourselves, the Futureheads, Tommy Smith's arguably one of the best new artists in the country by far, in my opinion. So yeah, do you get a chance to play that? Is it your choice, I guess?
I'm the person who put it together. I would never say it's my choice, but I've got to straddle that. Yeah, it is my choice. But I've got to straddle the line kind of like you say, you're essentially DJing to 45,000 people in all their choices, and mainstream choices are quite bland, to be honest. But you know, you've got to take the lead from the fans, really. So if they start a chant, try and find the original song of that and stick it in there, or if you think a song might work, start to implement it. So to give you an example, that Pitbull song which Luke Littler walks out to, starting to catch you start putting that on the pre-match, and then maybe 3 songs after full time as well, and you hear people singing along to it. So you take the lead from the crowd, really, and then you put in the originals. But also you've got to play like the classics. With Sunderland, you've got to play stuff like we always come out with the same music as well, and I'm a bit of a stickler for that. That should never be touched. However, sometimes regimes come and they do try and change it, but I feel like
is it Romeo and Juliet and then Ready to Go? Is that what you can still come out? I used to years ago with my mate.
Yeah, Republica, and then Elvis, kind of Fall in Love as well. Yeah, like that. That's the kind of the golden 3 before kickoff. And then post game at the moment, we've been going with Tom Hark by the Piranhas, which is because the fans did have a song for Regis Lebris when we were top of the league, or when we were certainly around the top of the league. However, since we can't really get top of the league anymore, that song doesn't really work. So we've been playing Wilson Isidore's song, which is to the tune of Salt and Pepper's Push It. So we've been playing that quite a lot.
Good stuff.
But you got to react. You got to react in the game. You wouldn't play it if you had a stinker. So you would be Luke 09 song, which is rocking all over the world. 09. But yeah, take your lead from the crowd. Try and play some local music in there always as well. So even if someone's new single from the city, it's a great place to showcase it, especially at half time. Play some current, play some classics, and also play something cool as well, because you want your club to look cool. If it's like someone doing a match report and they've got the Cure playing or something, that's cool. So
no, absolutely. Good stuff. Thank you. Right, who's done their homework this week for Frankie? Who's got a question ready?
Go to Lee. You know his Lee's done his
Yeah, I
homework.
know. We always know it's Lee, but I was giving another
Brought
bit.
you an apple.
Go on, Lee.
And,
Go on, Lee.
I've got actually a question for you, Jamie, as well now,
Oh,
because you said you want one of Frankie's songs at your funeral. I'm just hoping it's ungrateful. Be a great funeral song for you, but to Frankie anyway. This it's kind of a cop-out question. It's what would be your kind of music when you're in like a different mood? So if you're really, really happy, what's the kind of go-to album or song or that you'd put on? And conversely, when you're like really bad, notice the drums behind you. That's what it was. Would you go and smash your drums, or would you put like Limp Bizkit on, which is mine? I put Break Stuff on by Limp Bizkit and just go mental for like 5 minutes, and I feel better. What would be yours be?
Yeah, well, that's my little boy's drum kit. He got that for Christmas. It's his first kit. He's been learning the drums for 6 months before Christmas. We said, if you stick it at it, well, Santa Claus might bring you a drum kit. So that was a really good idea to do that. To get you. But no, I mean, yeah, that's just hope he continues because getting a lot of space in the sitting room. But
is he good? Is he good? Is he getting better? And
he can do a few patterns and he can hold time as well. So and I think some of the thickest people I know are drummers, so he's got a chance.
There's a few drummers in this league. Right, like that one.
Yeah. But in terms of the moods, Lee, what I listen to, I do try and listen to as much like current music as I can. So like before, like I started the Music City job, I worked on the Amazing Radio, which is like a new music station, and I still get excited by new music. So I was listening to a band called Supermarket today for the first time. They're really good. But when I tend to be down, I try and put like maybe some like dancier stuff on or something quite loud and abrasive. So I don't really know. I don't really have a go-to. I have certain moods and genres which I will sway to all the time. When I'm quite relaxed or when I'm working from home. At the moment, I've been listening to the Djibouti column and MF Doom, but I've also started listening to Sade.
Nothing wrong with Sade.
Yeah, fantastic,
Smooth
amazing.
operator.
Yeah, there's some amazing records by Sade. I've been listening to Sade quite a lot. Who else have I been listening to? I listen to loads of different stuff. I listen to a lot of online radio as well, and I often find myself Shazamming stuff all the time. There's a great online radio station I listen to called Do You Radio. It's a guy called Charlie Bones. I don't know if you know him, but he used to do the breakfast show on NTS. Basically fell out with him and said, I'm going to start my own station. And it's amazing. And every day is a music discovery for me, but like he'll play like really early James Brown, but he'll play really obscure drum and bass and things like that back to back. And and there's a group chat as well where people are discovering this music as well. He's totally amazing, and that's the beautiful thing about radio when you're learning and being educated constantly about music. It's nice because as you get older, it's harder to find your kicks, isn't it, with music? So. Yeah. It's great if someone can curate some stuff for you, and you've got someone with a trusted ear can recommend stuff. So, I listen to all sorts of music, and also in the last few years, maybe in the last 5-7 years, I've been really getting into jazz as well, which makes me sound like a right knobhead. But I really like.
No, I'm with you, brother.
Yeah, good.
This is my. I have this facing me when I'm editing photos. This is Dizzy Gillespie.
Dizzy, yeah. I think jazz is possibly one of the purest art form. No, we're really going highbrow. I think it might be the purest art form ever.
Absolutely. And if you go to Radio 3, Soweto Kinch does round midnight every weekday, just before midnight, and it's just brilliant. It's absolutely knockout.
Yeah,
it's-
but jazz is so broad as well, isn't it? Isn't it? Because you know that the fact that there's loads of modern artists doing really good jazz as well. There's amazing artists from Leeds who I love and I'm in touch with. She's a big Leeds fan, actually. You might want to try and get in touch with Emma Jean Thackeray. She's amazing. She's got a new record coming out in April, I think. But Giles Peterson's like a biggest fan. And she's made a good couple of records already. She's a massive Leeds fan. As soon as they beat us the other night, she was instant messaging me on Instagram and saying, "Oh, sorry, mate, beat you and all that." But I think she lives in London now. She's amazing. Like she plays trumpet, but she does all the arrangements herself and stuff like that. And also, you got bands like Ezra Collective, who are probably the standout act from the Brits. And that, if anyone endured that, it's just weird that
it was weird.
These days. But yeah, I love listening to jazz music, and but you're probably jazz fans that you all are. You just don't recognize some of the jazz.
Yeah, different stuff in it. So what other podcast is talking about missionary pancakes and Radio 3 and jazz? None.
Yeah,
that's what I'm telling you. None. Right, next. Who's got next question?
I've got one. It's about being a support band, and I love hearing about bands who maybe get asked to support a band, and you go, why? Why are we supporting this lot? So if you don't have a band like that, then who's your favorite support band that you've seen?
Seen or been because we had quite a lot of like big support tours ourselves.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if any of them you were like, why are we being? So I saw everything being interviewed about. They were support for Simple Minds, and they said that they got absolutely battered because they were like, why have we been chosen for this? This is just not going to go down well with people who just want, the Simple Minds greatest hits, and I'm just wondering if there was a support tour that you did where you thought, here we go, this will be fun.
We were quite lucky. Like we did some pretty big support tours over the years, and we were quite lucky. Like we ended up, even if they were a little bit different of genre, we ended up getting on with everyone. And one of the bands we support quite a lot of times because we're on the same label with the Cribs, and they actually had a good story along these lines. And they said they supported the Sex Pistols once at a reunion show in the early noughties at Brixton Academy, and they basically got loads of bottles of pee at them, but they loved it because they got to support the Sex Pistols. But yeah, I mean, we supported loads of people. Florence and the Machine. I guess you wouldn't put us in the same genre as that. Well, I guess you would. Kind of like NME bands.
Maybe kind of one click away on Spotify. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. That kind of, other suggested artists. You're probably 1 or 2 clicks away. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I remember playing. We supported Primal Scream in France on a tour, and I remember thinking the French people who were there were like, because it was the Screamadelica tour. They did like a reunion of Screamadelica, or played it in full, and we did 2 of that in France with them. And we had like kind of links through the record label as to why we were supporting them as well. So like the guys who started Wichita were the guys who had Creation Records back in the day. So there was loads of strong links between that. So that's essentially how we got on that tour. But I remember the French audience was looking at it and saying, why is this like band who sound a bit like Dexy's Midnight Runners meets supporting Screamadelica? Like, there's loads of hipsters like trying to like smoke weed, and we came on with like jockey numbers. Everyone sing along, and they're just like, we're not singing along or anything. So yeah, I mean it's odd, but I think it's important that the support act should. First of all, I also saw my job as the support act is to get people going, but also it has to complement the night, doesn't it? It's just a bit weird.
Yeah, well, and also it's important that if you are going to a gig, you just go along a little bit earlier and see the support band, because you never know who it's going to be. I've talked about this on my podcast. Now, I had tickets to see Jamie Cullum and in Manchester, and decided to just stay in the pub just for one more pint, and then went and saw Jimmy Cullum, and he was great. He was great, but then realised that the support was Amy Winehouse,
Oh,
and
wow.
do you know what I mean? And you know, if she'd still been touring now, I wouldn't have bothered that much. But you just go, oh, come on. So after that, it's just always go and see the support band. You never know.
Yeah, should always
That's
do
why
that.
festivals are so good as well, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
you can, you know, you get up at like 11 o'clock, have a bacon butty, and then you got music all day. It's absolutely fantastic to get into bands that way.
Yeah.
For sure. Right, who's got a question out of Stephen, Jersey Chris? Who's next?
I'll go. So just touching back on the Sunderland Till I Died documentary, did they ever sort out the PA system?
Yes, they did. They did, Jersey Chris. Yes, they did. Yeah. They only did it last season, but we finally have a proper PA system in there. Yeah.
Excellent. Also, with the playoffs coming up in a few months, Sunderland get to the final. Which team would you like to play against that you've got a better chance of getting to the Prem?
Middlesbrough. Yeah.
I was going to say it's nailed
Loaded
on. Trust me,
question.
if Middlesbrough were to make it and it was Sunderland Borough, every little thing in the world, my family connections and everything would say that Middlesbrough
once in a lifetime opportunity.
Yeah, once in a lifetime. Yeah, but the Sods Law would say we're probably going to get Burnley, and then Wilson Isidore is going to miss another penalty against them, and then they'll nil us at Wembley all the way through, and then bloody win on penalties because we missed one or something like that. But and of course as well, we could end up meeting Tony Mowbray there with West Brom as well.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So I don't know.
They're doing a good job with West Brom.
He's a good man. He's a good manager.
Yeah,
subsequently had his health issues, but we shouldn't have got rid of him when we did.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
Well, let's just hope it's not Leeds you're playing.
We said this last week. There's no way Leeds United
can't.
We
can't muck this up. Even Leeds can't muck this up.
Yeah.
Surely Leeds can't muck this up.
We can.
No, it's like Liverpool for the Prem, Leeds for the Championship already. It's game over in both leagues.
I've got to say though, Leeds have been head and shoulders above anyone we've played this season. They really have been head and shoulders. Like even the times we played Sheffield United, we've been more than in the game with them as well. And obviously, we give them a good game and stuff like that. But Leeds are just, they've got this too much strength, and they've got some really good unsung heroes. Like that Aronson's amazing. I think is like a 10. He every time he's played us, I think he's really good. I don't know if you agree, but I think he's good. And you've got a strong bench, and I think he just streaks ahead of us. And I actually like your goalkeeper, despite what he does every now and again.
Well, you would do after he let you score.
You blooming loved him back earlier in the season. Yeah, for sure. Good stuff. Right, Steve, what's your question? We'll wrap up the questions for Frankie.
Well, because I spent so much time rummaging through listeners' letters, I don't have to have a question.
Right,
But I have got one. So I've picked my favourite one out of all that. So it's from Rich Lay, who's a big fan. He says, Frankie, when are you getting the band back together and coming back to the Brudenell?
I'd love to.
He says the anniversary gig at Pop Records was ace, and the work you are doing in Sunderland is totally brilliant, and I miss the Heartstrings.
Yeah, but you know what I do as well, and it's we're just all so busy with stuff, right now, and like, so Michael ended up. Well, I don't know if he's on or, but our drummer Dave died like just after COVID or during COVID or something like that. So that was crap. And then Michael took over Pop Rex, and that he's kept that going. I've ended up doing all sorts of things on the back because we weren't all able to take a wage from Pop Rex, so we all had to do other things. So I ended up doing my radio stuff, and then I fell into this Music City thing. But I've also had the Sunderland thing on the side as well. Ross, who's been our guitarist probably longer than any other guitarist, he's in the future heads as well, and they've got a greatest hits coming out or just came out, so he's busy with that. And then Dennis out basically got a job at Barclays call centre, so we haven't got any time.
Life gets in the way. It's annoying.
I'd love to, and especially when you've had like a long day at work and you're thinking, what did I get into all this for? It was mainly just to get your mates in a room and smash some songs out. It was good, and I miss that bit. The reason why we did in the first, we didn't have any aspirations as a band either. We just wanted to. I was running a bar at the time in Sunderland, just graduated from uni, and me, Michael, and Dave were sat down talking about Dexys Midnight Runners, the Smiths, and Orange Juice. And we said, well, wouldn't it be good if we made a band that sounded a bit like that and got a gig in this pub that I was running? And I was like, I don't know if we'll get a gig. They were like, you run the pub, you can get us a gig. So, and that was the only aspiration for the band. And I think, we need to get back to that kind of thing because that's why we started. This was a bit of fun, and it was fun,
Yeah.
Rich has a follow-up question to that as well. Is who has the snakiest snake hips, you or Rick Witter?
Oh, it's got to be Rick, isn't it? He still gets to do it on a regular basis as well. He hasn't got to do a bloody job like I have to. So I haven't practiced my moves for a while. I'm very missionary these days.
That's going to be the heading for this chat, isn't it?
It is. It was nailed on after 5 minutes, I think.
Sorry, guys.
And I did have a response from Rick about that as well.
Oh, okay. What was his?
And he said that his are aging and still not bad for a 52-year-old, but Frankie's definitely got it going on.
So I tell you, if he wants to offer us a support too, we'll do it. Tell him we'll do that. Yeah.
I'm sure he would. What was it? When Nathan Clark was on from the Brood and L, he said that you were his biggest rival in the league and he took more pleasure out of beating you than anybody else. So have you got a rival in the league?
I'm just looking through, well, I always just take an interest in how poor old Chesney Hawkes is getting on. But he's obviously so busy that he isn't able to update his team. But Nathan's a good one because the best thing about when we used to play the Brunel, which felt like every 6 months for 10 years, we'd just sit and have a cup of tea with Nathan and talk about how shit Leeds and Sunderland were. So I always like Nathan's company as well. It's all fun though, isn't it, guys?
Well, Ross might get relegated anyway, so Ross might be playing you next season.
Man United, right?
If you don't go up. I mean, Ross's team, Ross's fantasy team.
Yeah, but bad season for Ross all around. I know he's got a ticket in the Stretford end for, even though he's from up here, he goes to Man United games.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's a massive fan, and I don't even know what to say to him. So I see Ross at least a couple of times a week. I'm just like, what do I say to you this week, Ross? Because we always talk about football, and he's just like, I can't believe what's happening. And I was like, I don't even want to take the piss out of you anymore. It's like that.
It's just thoughts and prayers, basically.
Yeah.
Just thoughts and prayers.
He's already dead. Yeah. I'd like to keep Ross. Yeah.
Being pitied is probably worse than getting the piss taken out. Manchester United fans.
And all that. Yeah.
Definitely. Right. Well, thank you for that, Frankie. We're going to ask you some more questions now, but under the guise of Sing When You're Winning super fan. So, what's your footballing knowledge like? What would you say? You're pretty good at that.
As long as it's Sunderland or League One or Championship base in the last 5 years.
It's not. But I think for if we do season 2, I might get people to do subjects as just like Mastermind. But no, you're thrown open to the world of ChatGPT.
Okay.
And me searching for just general football questions, essentially. So some of it is nonsense, as we discovered again last week. But yeah, each week we test our guests' footballing knowledge, see how many questions they can get correct in 90 seconds. So the top score to beat is 7. So if you can get 7 or more, you will go joint top or top of the league. And if you just score 1, you'll be in good company. I think it's fair to say. But I have a feeling you'll do all right at this. Steve is our official timer, so he will, after 90 seconds, he will shout out something topical and related to this week's show, possibly. And then who wants to do the scoring this week? We've got 3 of you.
I'll score.
Chris is scoring this week. That's great. Thank you very much. So the 90 seconds will start when I ask the first question. I think it's fair to say just don't ponder, don't stall, just say pass. If there's any you don't know, just pass and move on. So question number 1. Which team won the 1991 UEFA Champions League?
Was it Marseille?
It was Red Star Belgrade. I think they beat Marseille in that final. Who scored the winning goal for Chelsea in the 2012 UEFA Champions League final?
Drogba?
It was Drogba. Which player scored a record 5 goals in a Champions League match in 2015?
2015. Ronaldo?
It was Messi. Who won the 2017 FIFA Confederations Cup?
Don't know. Pass.
It was Germany. Who scored the winning goal for Man U in the 1999 Champions League final?
Solskjaer?
Yes, it was. Who won the 2000 FIFA Club World Cup?
2000. Manchester United.
It was Real Madrid. Which player has the most appearances for the England national team? I don't know if that's right, actually.
Peter Shilton.
It says Wayne Rooney on it. Is that bullshit?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was bullshit. Move on. Right, we'll give you 5 seconds back. So, who won the 2018 Ballon d'Or?
2018. It wasn't Modric, was it?
It was Modric, bang on. Who was the top scorer in the 2012-2013 Premier League season?
12, 13. Don't know. Drogba.
It was Robin van Persie. And which country won the 19...
Have you nicked my phone?
I've started, so I finished. Which country won the 1992 UEFA European Championship?
What year? Sorry, did you say?
92. I remember this one well for some reason. 1992.
Sampdoria.
No, it was the actual Euros. So it's a league. Sorry, it's a country.
Denmark.
It was Denmark. Yes. So final score, Chris.
Well, it depends if you're given a point for Shilton.
I know Shilton
is correct.
Let's give the point
It's
for
5.
Shilton then. 5. Well
Nice.
done.
Oh.
Well done.
Most
Good
caps there.
score. That puts you well into the top 4 or 5 people who've played the game. So well done. Out of about 30 managers. So well done, Frankie.
Thanks.
Good scoring. Thanks. So let's have a bit of an update on Bletchley Scott, who did play last weekend. I got that wrong last week. They did have a game. They were playing Wing Raiders. How do we think they got on?
I think they're still winning. I think they're on fire.
They were on fire, but they've had a month off. I think they've been eating pancakes and stuff like that. They lost 6-0, unfortunately. But these are teams that beat them earlier in the season. They're playing Stony Stratford this weekend, and they lost 8-0 to Stony Stratford earlier in the season. So we'll say, come on, Bletchley, and keep on fingers crossed. But I think the next couple of games are teams that have previously beaten them, and then they'll have a run to the end of the season with teams that they've beaten before. So I still think they're set for a kind of a top half finish. So, but yes, do you know about Bletchley, Frankie?
No, you'll have to inform me.
Well, it was last summer, wasn't it? On the WhatsApp group, we essentially, yes, Lee has got the shirt. So the Sing When You're Winning, the league sponsors, a lot of us put some money in to sponsor the team. So basically, they wear those shirts. And so we keep an eye on them every week and give them a shout out, etc. So yeah, and you can buy that shirt as well if you wanted to. You could wear that at the Sunderland game. I'm sure that would go down well. People go, "What the hell is he wearing?" The stadium of light. Like, I think it's Wolves. Chuck stuff at you.
Yeah, I'm only allowed to wear official merchandise with with bird poo on it these days as well.
Oh yeah,
Nobody-
we haven't
nobody
gone there, have
mentioned
we?
that.
Oh no, we
Nobody
haven't gone
mentioned
there, have we? Yeah. You've let yourself in that one. Do you want to? Yeah. Do you want to tell listeners about that one?
Yeah, I was just about to do my sign off on air against. It was just after a 1-0 home defeat against Hull. We've been undefeated at home all season. It really summed up the day when one of the circling seagulls within the ground did a massive crap down my top. So there we go.
I mean, there's a lot of them about, aren't they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that could be the
It's actually
promotion
full time. They
you've
kind
been
of
needing.
circle round and just like look for scraps. But I was like, one day these are going to poo on someone. And the thing as well, they give us that jacket to wear. So they just released a new Hummel range as well.
Yeah.
And before the game, I got a bit of stick from some players were like, "Oh, why are you wearing like Leeds colours for?" And I was like, "No, it's not. It's this new Hummel thing the club's asked us to wear. It's like yellow and navy blue." And anyway, so I got a few stick before the game, and then afterwards, and the bird did a crap on it. The players, some of the players were like, "Well, he shouldn't have been wearing it anyway." And I was like, "Hold on here, like, I was being told to wear this, so I didn't choose to wear this, and I also didn't choose to be crapped on either, you know."
Maybe the Seagulls were Mackhams, and they were like, "What's he wearing that for?"
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or a
At least-
Foles fan.
Yes,
Yeah,
Foles fan.
exactly.
Well, at least it wasn't a magpie that did it anyway.
Exactly,
That would have been worse, wouldn't it?
But you hear you, and you won your match, Frankie. So I mean, there you go.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wear that at
Right.
Wembley. If you get to Wembley, wear the shit-stained and see if that makes a difference.
Yeah.
Well, keep our fingers crossed. Right, unless you're playing Borough, of course, and then you can rot. But we won't get there. There is not a cat in hell's chance that we are getting to Wembley this season, not even the playoffs. Right, let's wrap this up with a final game of Shooting Stars. Did you used to read Match and Shoot magazine as a child or when you were growing up? Yep. Can you remember the week interviews, kind of quick fire questions that they asked, like player profiles? Can you remember those at all, or did you skip past those? Yeah, well, essentially, we're going to ask you those questions. So
Do
kind
I
of
have
quick
to answer
fire.
the style of like a 90s footballer?
You
Because
could. I mean, that would be interesting. Yeah. Why do you want to pick a particular ex-Sunderland player that you could pretend is answering these questions? That could be an interesting.
No, Quinn.
Paul Bracewell.
Michael Gray.
Michael Gray. Okay. Imagine you're Michael Gray. You can make this up. This could be entertaining. Okay. So imagine that you're Michael Gray.
In the mid-90s.
In the mid-90s. This is the private life of Michael Gray just before. So he not quite humiliated himself at Wembley and missed a penalty against Charlton.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's still happy go lucky at this point.
How much does a trip to the hairdressers cost?
So Michael, what subject did you hate most at school and why?
Maths, don't understand it.
Great stuff. What would you do if you could be invisible for a day?
Well, if this is the mid-90s and it's Michael Gray, he'd probably say hang around some female dressing room or something like that. But it's not. It's 2024.
Allegedly, he would have said that.
He was a player in two senses of the word.
Yeah,
He was.
allegedly. Oh dear, Michael. What if anything frightens you?
What would frighten them? I don't know.
Penalties by the sound of it.
All that.
Very good. Michael, who are your favourite pop stars in the mid-90s?
He I don't know. He used to come at our gigs when we used to play in Manchester. He's based in Manchester. Him and Nicky Summerby would come to all our gigs in Manchester.
Cool.
So got to give him some credit. He had some good taste in music. I don't know what it was like in the 90s, but yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. Outside football, what is the biggest risk you've ever taken, Michael?
I heard a story once about Michael Gray that he bought a Ferrari, and because it was like it had like those flappy panel gear shifters on, but no one told him when he bought it. So he used to drive around Sunderland in first gear in this Ferrari until the engine blew up. I don't know if that's true or not. And I've seen quite a lot. He does quite a lot of press for TalkSport and things like that. So I might see him next time in the press rooms. I once heard a story that you bought a Ferrari and you didn't know how to change the gear and the engine blew up. Was that true?
He'll deny it regardless, won't he? He'll
Yeah.
deny it regardless. So, Michael, what's your favourite cartoon character in the 90s?
Who was big? Which cartoon character was big in the 90s? Was there
That
any?
Michael would have liked.
No, I don't know. Maybe he was like old school, like Tom and Jerry or something like that.
Yeah.
No, he'd be solid Thundercats.
Thundercats.
Definitely.
All right,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think
Definitely
Thundercats.
Thundercats.
Bit of a Lion-O fan, maybe. And Michael, have you ever been mistaken for someone else?
Well, probably from behind when he had his long blonde hair, a woman, I'd imagine, quite a lot of times. He had beautiful long blonde hair, didn't he? Yeah.
He did, yes, he did. And the last question that we ask everybody on Shooting Stars is, what was I know you've mentioned the Ferrari, but I'm sure you'd have had one before this. What was the first car you bought, and how much did it cost?
Well, it must have been like a Nissan Micra, because Sunderland is the home of Nissan, remember, everyone?
It
so
is.
Everyone's first car is a Nissan Micra up here. You pass your test in a Nissan Micra, and then you must buy a Sunderland car, which is a Nissan Micra. So, yeah.
Yes. Brilliant stuff. Well, thank you, Michael, Stroke, Frankie, for that round of Shooting Stars. It was very good. Thank you very much. And thank you for being a brilliant guest on this week's Sing When You're Winning pod as well. And good luck with the rest of the season. You are getting close to promotion, so you could, you and Sunderland, you could have a double. Imagine that. That would
Imagine
be good.
that. Yeah, euphoric. Thanks so much for inviting us on, guys. And I know I'm not the most active in the group message or anything like that, but I really do appreciate being part of this community. And when I do get involved in stuff like this, it's really nice to probably talk to you all. And good on you.
Awesome. No, I appreciate that. Thank you. So remember, everyone, as well, you can follow us on Twitter at SWYW_FPL. The double underscore is very important. And if you're watching this on YouTube, leave us a comment, perhaps about Mickey Gray. Maybe you knew him. Maybe you knew... Anyway, we're going to get ourselves into trouble with that one. I'm going to move swiftly on. Or you can ask us an FPL question, and we might even discuss it in next week's show, where we'll be joined by another top guest who shall remain a secret for another week. But yeah, thanks to Lee, Steve, Chris, Jersey Chris. We will be back next week. But enjoy your footballing week and keep on singing and keep on winning. Goodbye.